same place. Just I live like when you were up, I lived about 20 miles west of Kenora, and I'm out that way still. I've got a house I've been at for like 10 years, and yeah, I'm just out in my shop right now, and kind of got my boat's down south, but I've got a nice little fishing room, and yeah, I got the big trophy right there. I don't know. I'll hold it up when we start.
Absolutely.
But
yeah, that's super cool. You guys still got a lot of snow and ice up there yet?
Oh yeah, tons of ice. I'm kind of pissed because now is like the next week's when I want to be ice fishing, and yeah, got to hit the road. And it's just been like I was like, oh, I'll go tonight, tomorrow, but it's like just going on the road now for a month, so it's just trying to get stuff done to get out of here,
Yeah. Well, next year, now that they lifted that COVID ban, I'll have to try and come up and fish with you again.
Yeah.
No. That I wasn't getting no shot, and it sucks. I miss going up there. It's been 3 years since I've been up there last.
Yeah. No, border's all clear now, so it's easy peasy.
Nice. So where are you heading next?
We got we got 3 elite tournaments in the next 4 weeks, 2 in South Carolina, week off, and then 1 in Alabama, and then home for a couple weeks. Then we go to Texas for 1. And then late July, we go to Lake St. Clair in Michigan. And then end of August, we go out to New York to Champlain and Lake Ontario. So got 3 good smallmouth tournaments there late in the season. And yeah, I can't wait. I'm excited for those ones.
When's the last time you've come down and fished the Sturgeon Bay Open?
I think the 2019 was the last time Seth and I came and fished it together. And
okay.
Yeah, just tough. Like this year, I know Chris and Corey are coming. It's doable. It's at the end of this stretch of like 3 tournaments in 4 weeks, and my wife's coming with me, so it's just hard to like do it all. I love Sturgeon Bay. I miss getting to see. I got a lot of friends there from over the years. But it's just not in the cards. It's just too much. Just can only do so much.
Sure. Well, it's a special body of water, that's for sure. I mean, I don't do the smallies a whole lot. I'm more obviously into the walleyes and stuff, but it's still a ball to go up there and get it out of your system and go whack on a bunch of 5-pound smallies for a day.
Yeah, they're the biggest, other than like Lake Ontario's got the same kind of giants quality too. But yeah, I got my biggest one in 2013 or 15, somewhere in there, a 760. Probably never catch a bigger one. And I always tell everyone, if you've never been there, there's always a few people from up here that like go every year, that new people. And I always just tell them, like, you'll catch 5-pounders. If you go for the week, you'll catch some 5-pounders and probably a 6-pounder. And it's an incredible place for sure.
So if you were to have to rank smallie places, everywhere you've had the chance to fish, is that top, or are there better places?
I think of all the places I've been, I think Lake Ontario is probably the craziest, like the best, like the most big ones, and they're just everywhere. But yeah, it's right up there for sure. I probably would be my number 2, I think. That Lake Ontario, it's just a much bigger area that has smallmouths, where the Green Bay, you're kind of getting them in these bays in the spring, and then they spread out, and it's right up there. But yeah, that Lake Ontario, I've got to go there, a few times now in the last few summers, and it's unbelievable too, like big ones and lots of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
What time of the year is best to head over there?
I've only been in the summer, but I think you could go. I think from now and anytime you can go, I think it's probably pretty good. Ontario, like up where I live, our season for bass is open year round. It's catch and release only until July 1st, but we get to fish for them. And the best fishing of the year is, immediately after the ice goes out. They're hungry and schooled up and haven't been caught all winter, so they're ready to go. down in southern Ontario now, like on the Canadian side of Lake Ontario, it's actually a catch and release season open now. So I think you could, it'd be a great place to go do an adventure. You'd find smallmouths that have never seen a lure before, and I'm sure you'd catch a lot of giants right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's a problem with Sturgeon Bay is it's just getting pounded, and these fish are just getting raped. Guys are keeping a bunch of them. We get all these people from Chicago and out of the state area that come up, and they're killing them all, and it's just sad to see.
No, not that's that. And when I say it's just a much bigger area, like that's what I think I appreciate about Ontario a little bit more, is that it's you can go fish all day and not see another boat, whereas Sturgeon Bay, if you get around where the fish are, you're going to have boats around you. And that's the only maybe love up there, but it's still like an amazing place and beautiful. And I've seen it be angry and violent out there too, with the wind gets fired up out of the northwest, but beautiful place for sure.
Awesome. Well, I guess, one of the questions that I've had some people ask is, growing up, you've lived up in Canada, obviously, your whole life, but what was it like? I mean, what did you do growing up? What got you into fishing?
So, yeah, like I'm lucky. I caught the bug early. I had my dad and grandfather that took me out in the boat, and, I had access to the lake and to go a lot. And, like I said, caught the bug early. I did my first guide trip when I was like 14 years old at Ash Rapids Camp out on one of the fishing resorts on the lake. And I mean, I'm 40 now, so like that's 20 something years ago. That would never happen today, a 14-year-old like running a guide boat. But back then, I mean, I was just so into it. Another guide didn't show up, and I was out doing camp work, on the weekends at this resort, cutting the grass, just whatever I could. I was going to guide whenever I could get the chance, and somebody didn't show up, and the owner knew that, that I could fish, and that I, he knew that the fishing part was going to be fine. I think I walked down to the boat. At that time, I probably weighed like 120 pounds, had thick glasses, and like, I'm sure these guests were like, what the hell who's taking us fishing? And I remember the owner being like, hey, if you don't catch any fish, I won't charge you for it, but you're going to catch fish. And I'm sure I took them to like the best spots that I had. And we caught, all the bass and pike and walleye that they wanted. Luckily, where I live up on Lake of the Woods, it's in Shoal Lake. I mean, the fishing's as good as anywhere in the world. And you can, there's always something biting. So the fishing part's pretty easy.
Yeah, so when we were up there, we fished Shoal Lake, and if I remember right, the year we were up there, or the first year we were up there with you, it was closed for walleye fishing. I don't think we could keep anything.
Closed. It's still closed for walleye. Been like for 40 years, and so we bass fish out there. There's a few tournaments every year, and really good pike fishing. But yeah, you catch all kinds of walleyes just while you're bass fishing, and it's just fun. Like and like the jerk shad bait that I used at the Classic. We were doing that up there 15 years ago. That's part of like my supreme confidence in that lure and that style of fishing is just from catching thousands of fish on it over the years.
So you got me started on that. I mean, I could remember you had the bulk bags of the power baits.
Yeah, we used and power minnows was the one that we used the most back then. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And when I came back, we came back here. Started fishing the same way, you kind of showed us, and boy, I can honestly say I don't use much for live bait for walleye fishing much at all anymore. If you can't catch them on plastics, and I've learned so much from the bass world, being in the industry and watching, guys like you who are smallmouth, wizards. These walleyes up here by us fish the same way the smallies do. And so many guys think that they have to troll, to catch walleyes, and you got to use leeches and crawlers and everything else. And boy, I tell you what, these fish, even when you're fishing them too, it seems like they're a lot more aggressive with plastics than they are with live bait. There's no, tap or anything like that. It's usually a solid hook set, and they don't mess around.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 guide trips a summer if I'm really like people that don't fish at all. Like maybe I'll grab a little bit of meat, but I never use it. And electronics are so good now. Like you can find fish pretty easy with that, and then just the plastics are so good. Yeah, I mean, find the fish. That's the most important thing. And if you can't catch them, you got to find better spots where they're not getting fished by everyone else. That's really the only time that they get hard to catch on plastic, is if there's just too many other people fishing for them. So it's just, be creative and look for off the wall places to catch them. And usually it's when you that's my favorite thing in fishing, whether it's bass or walleye. My goal when I go out, I hardly ever fish places that I know I can catch them at. Again, tournament days, got some guide trips, but like I love the adventure of finding fish that like have never seen a lure before, and I want to throw my bait and have 10 of them fighting over it, whether it's smallmouths or walleyes or whatever it is, and that's really what kind of drives me,
Yep. Yeah, and Canada, you guys got so much untouched water. Here, boy, it gets worse. Every year we say how many more people can fish these lakes and these rivers, and it's insane. I swear to God, it seems like the population of fishermen grows twofold every single year, and especially with COVID, we gain so many more new anglers, and that's great for our sport. But the problem is that, we don't have the fisheries to support all this pressure and all these people, and we're seeing small lakes get wiped out. Even our bigger lakes and that are taking a huge hit. So, I'm hoping that the DNR and our biologist guys start, kind of matching what's going to happen here with the advancements in electronics. It's easy now for these guys to go out and get on a 60-acre lake and find every crappie that swims and catch them all.
Yeah, and they're the easiest fish there is to wipe out. People think they're big crappies in 2 years, and they're not. They're 8-10-year-old fish, and you gotta. Yeah. Yep. It's okay to take a few for dinner, but the days of filling a bucket up, if you want to go back and have fun, more than once, you just can't. You can't do that. And even up here where we're at, I mean, the crappies are the easiest thing there is to wipe out, and there's a lot of good places that. Some of the really good stuff, you don't even want to drill a hole on it anymore because someone finds it, and it's not everybody, but it doesn't take long to. I've seen a lot of good places get kind of ruined, but that's the responsibility of anglers now with the forward sonar and that. It makes fishing easier in a lot of situations, but you gotta be respectful of the fish too.
Yep. Here, my little guy wants to say hi. Say hi to Gussy.
Hi.
What's going on, boss?
That's Xander. He's named after the European walleye.
Nice. That's on my bucket
he wants
list.
Those. He wants to play hockey. He's missing a few of his front teeth.
Check this out.
Hey, look at this.
That's the big.
You see that?
A couple weeks ago.
That is the Bassmaster Classic Trophy. Remember when we were watching it on TV?
What?
That's the trophy that he won.
Which one?
This one right here.
From what?
From the Bass tournament that we were watching on TV when he was on TV. Can you say congratulations to him?
Good job.
Good job.
I appreciate it, buddy. Good luck with the hockey.
Someday we're going to go back up there by him and go fishing. Maybe you can come with.
Okay.
All right. Good night, mister. The kiddos, we had taekwondo tonight, and they're just getting ready to head to bed now.
Nice.
Oh, that's okay. So something that we just picked up here, we've been doing the rep thing, and the group that I work with just signed a deal with Z-Man. So we're going to be repping all the Z-Man stuff in Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got to give Corey a call here and talk to him and see what I can help do with over in Wisconsin. And it'd be pretty cool. They got some great stuff. And I think, isn't Jose over there now too?
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the best lure designers in the world, and he's got the ball rolling on a bunch of cool stuff. Like he sent me pictures of a few sample things that he's made up over the winter, and like some amazing looking baits. Like stuff's gonna start getting a lot more real looking, and cool. I'm excited, but they make, I mean, for like smallmouth and walleye anglers, they make the best stuff, all you need for soft plastic. And the Elastec, the durability of it, you super glue is mandatory. That's the one thing that you need if you're using the jerk shads or the Ned rig baits, the small swim baits. All of them are very, very good for walleye and smallmouths and other species as well. But and then takes a little practice to get the baits to go on straight on your jig head. I mean, that's the number one thing. You want to make sure they're straight. If they're bent or crooked at all, they're going to twirl, twist your line, and not look natural. So it takes a little practice. I've got some baits in a jig over here. I'm going to rig one up and show everyone.
Yeah, bring it over. Show us what you guys got. So one thing that a lot of people I don't think have really tried. We talk about it a lot. And I picked up on it when I was up doing, I think I was with Jeremy Smith. We were up, I think, for one of the Lund photo shoots and using Ned rigs for the walleyes. And that to me is probably one of the most deadly baits for fishing walleyes around here out of anything. If you gave me one thing, it'd definitely be a Ned rig.
Absolutely. And I'm the same. When they're on the minnow bite and looking for Cisco's and smelt and stuff, these jerk shads are tough to beat too. So, but no, number one thing, you want to get them on there nice and straight. So one trick that I have, when you get it to that point, you want to pull the plastic up on the collar. You grab the bait and you pinch it and just sort of snap it like that. And look at that, how it just sits, it gets set on there perfectly. And it's nice and straight.
Oh,
and you don't want any bends or kinks in it. You want it to be nice and straight. And that's a fish catching machine right there. But you just take it,
it's crazy,
and just give it a snap.
You couldn't do that with a normal plastic.
No. And then what you do once you have it on there and set where you want it, then you just pull this back a bit, dab a little super glue. I don't know if everyone can see that great, but dab a little bit of super glue in there, and then you just push it up, and that thing is you could catch 100 fish on that bait and not have to change it.
Here, I'll make that a little bit bigger. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. And what jig heads are you using?
So in the Classic, I used one called the Smeltinator that a friend of mine makes. And it's the reason I like this one so much, good collar, but it's got a heavy 604 Gamakatsu hook in it. So strong hook. You can't open that with 10-pound line. This one's a Northland Mimic minnow jig. We've used that one forever too. A little bit lighter wire hook, but it's a good jig too. If you're using lighter line than the walleye guys, this is probably the one that you want. But they're both good jigs.
Yeah, everybody knows the Mimic minnow.
Mimic jig back with that gammy hook on it too. Like it hadn't been around for a little while, but back in the day, this was the one that we used. When you were coming up here, quite a bit. Yep.
So, couple questions. Jordan here just asked, why don't you see the pros using tubes much?
It just depends where we are. Like when we go, like if I was going to Sturgeon Bay in May, a green pumpkin small tube is my number one bait, for sure. And up here at Lake of the Woods in the summer, we have a ton of crayfish in the lake. And it's a small tube, and I just cast it at every little boulder and sand patch that I can find. So it just depends what you're doing. Like at the Classic, those fish I was catching were all minnow eaters. That they were looking to eat shad. So I'm looking, that was I just felt like I wanted a minnow imitating bait. But if anywhere I go where I feel like it's crayfish that is the predominant, forage, or even gobies on the bottom, then a tube is still a good option. I've got thousands of tubes in this shop here, and they're part of my arsenal for sure.
Sure. Patrick had another question here. What kind of bait do you like throwing on rock piles?
For bass?
Bass, walleyes, I think that jerk shad is probably the same. I mean, that's what we throw.
So one sec here. So yeah, like the jerk shad is tough to beat anywhere, and especially if I feel like they're eating minnows and bait fish. If they're eating crayfish or feel like they're more bottom oriented, this is a Z-Man hula stick, and that's probably I've probably caught more fish on that bait than anything else over the last 6 or 7 years. So I'm gonna rig one up and show you what I do with it. But it's up in smallmouth country, mandatory equipment. So I like to shorten it up a little bit. Sometimes cut off like a 3/4 of an inch, maybe. It's a 4-inch bait. And then this is one of the new, Northland has the new line of Gamakatsu hooks in some of these jigs. So they got a really nice Ned head. And in some heavier weights too, like with the forward sonar in that now, I use a 1/4. This is a 5/16. I like using a heavier jig just to, if I see a fish out there at 20 feet, I want my bait to get to it now. I don't want to be waiting for it to sink. So, but yeah, this is a deadly little weapon, this hula stick, and for smallmouths and walleyes. So same deal as I did with the jerk shad before. I'm going to push it up to that point and then pinch the bottom and just sort of snap it. And just like that, I mean, it's on there perfectly nice and flush, nice and straight. And then I would take a little bit dab of super glue and just, get it in that little, get it in there and then just push it up against the jig. And that's until I snag that thing, I can keep fishing with it all day. I could catch 100 fish on that. And I like them once they really get, chewed and haggard and beat up, and they seem to almost work better. And then the other thing I do, these have salt in them. I'll actually stretch the tail out, and that exposes some of the salt, so it's going to come out, and it just makes that tail stand up and float better off the bottom. And I mean, that is just the best walleye and smallmouth catcher that there is, I think, for most places that I've ever fished.
Very nice. Yeah. I think who's going to come out with super glue first, Northland or Z-Man?
I don't know. I always use the Loctite stuff, that comes in the gray and blue little can, and it keeps it controlled and stuff. But yeah, they should. I mean, that's the number one thing if you use the Elastec, because if people haven't used it before, it can be frustrating. It's harder to rig up. It just takes a little practice. And then once you can get them on there nice and straight, a dab of glue and that stuff, it's incredible how many fish you can catch on one bait and just how effective it is. The baits are.
Nice. Yeah. Going back to Jose, I had the pleasure of working with him when I was with 13, and man, some of the stuff he was designing for ice even back then was incredible. And I think then he went to, what's that other company? Savage. Yep, and then now he's with Z-Man. So it'll be exciting to see what he's got coming down the chute, because that guy is a genius. That is for certain.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've just seen pictures of a few of the things that he's been cooking up, and cool stuff coming. So we're lucky.
He's a good dude. So your first big, I guess. Well, let's ask this question. Going back, if you had to go back and make a decision, or what's the biggest regret, or what's the one thing you wish you would have done differently going through all these years of fishing that you go back and you look at everything? What's one thing you would have done different?
Probably so I went to university, University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, just a little bit west of where I live, and I kind of was on the Keep Mom Happy program. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I think I wanted to be in the fishing community somehow, but at that time, didn't know how I was going to make it happen. And I wish I ended up just taking like general arts and just, took a lot of geography and history, just like stuff that, if I missed the class, it was in the textbook. And I wish I would have taken more like business and marketing stuff, because a lot of that I've had to just learn as I go, and that's fine. Like the process was good. But that's probably the first thing that kind of comes to mind. And then I wish, like, I'm so jealous now of like Jay Shakira, and we got another Canadian, Cooper Gallant, on the Elite Series this year. Like those guys are like not even 25 years old yet, and they're fishing on the Elite Series. Like I'm jealous of how young they're getting to start their careers. They're already really good. Jay won a tournament last year, is out at Lake Ontario in his rookie season. I mean, that's probably one of the things I wish I could have got started early. But at the same time, I got lucky. Like I was a regular guy. I had a couple people that had the means to help me out that kind of got me started, or I might never have gone and done it. And so I've been pretty lucky to catch a lot of breaks and get help from people along the way. So really no complaints.
Right. Well, and you got hooked up with the Petersons early. I mean, when I went up there, you were doing all the deer hunting and the guiding, hunting and that too, with Mike Christopher. And so that was you guys up in that northern Minnesota, Canada. That's the one thing where I struggle with down in Wisconsin is I don't have any big fishing companies around in my backyard to hang out with and stuff like that. So most of the guys I know have been through, guys like yourself meeting, whether it be in Minnesota, in the Twin Cities or up in Brainerd, or, those are the fishing headquarters of the world, it seems like. So, that's kind of one thing that we got to overcome over here in Wisconsin. We just don't have the companies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably for both of us, like all the years ago to that St. Paul Ice Show, I mean, I met so many people and had a lot of fun at that over the years. And I haven't been to it now for several years, but just with the bass stuff I'm doing, I just don't have as much ice opportunity. I love ice fishing, and I've got a lot to look forward to still in my life of I live in one of the best places in the world to ice fish. I mean, excellent lake trout, walleye, pike, crappie, whitefish, burbot. Got it all, and as good as it gets. So, but yeah, I don't get to do as much of it now as I would like. And I had a bunch planned, on this. I've been home for 2 weeks since the Classic, but just, after winning it's changed my life a little bit. And the last couple of weeks have been kind of crazy. I've done a lot of interviews and just had a lot of commitment. So it's all good.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to hopefully next year at this time, I'll get to be on the ice a little bit more.
Did you get a chance to do any lake trout fishing yet this winter?
Yeah, I've caught a few. But I haven't I had never had like a killer day. Never caught any real big ones. I mean, I've caught some, but yeah, just regular kind of day. Actually, the few I've done I did two like really solid days, and they were both into like new lakes that I'd never really fished before, and we caught some, but never hit the jackpot, But that's all part. Like that's what I love to do. I love to fish new water, and you don't hit every time, but then when you do, it makes it that much more kind of rewarding or better,
Well, that was still one of my favorite trips of all time, was going up with Paul and Ray and Dwayne when we came up there and did those Lakers with you, and you guys making fun of me with my noodle rod.
Yeah. No, that was fishing back then was pretty good, and it's not as good out there now as it used to be. There's still a lot of fish, but we used to the bay where a lot of them live up here. They're protected in the winter, so back then there was a lot more smelt all over, and a lot of these trout would leave where they live in the winter, and we'd catch them. And now there's a lot more bait in some of these areas where they really live, and they don't leave as much. So it's all good. You still catch some. There's still some big ones, and summertime. I mean, it's you can catch them really good too, just on that jerk shad and put that on a jig head, and they eat them up.
Sure. So Fisher, my oldest boy, wanted to know how much time you pros are on the road, and it kind of was one question I had from a guy that sent me. I had a bunch of people send me some questions here, and fishing the Elite Series. What does your year look like? When do you guys start? When do you guys end? Where are you traveling to? Why doesn't the Elite head out to California and ever fish?
Yeah. Okay. So, 10 events for me this year. We have 9 regular season Elite events, and then the Classic is 10. So it's each event is pretty much a week. We get 3 days to pre-fish, and then the tournaments are 4 days. So, for next week, we practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Tournament starts Thursday and runs through Sunday. So we'll get to town Sunday. Got an Airbnb that we rent for the week, generally at most of these places, and then everyone fishes for 2 days. There's 100 anglers in the field. Day 3 gets cut to 50, and if you make day 3, you're making some money. So that's sort of the primary goal heading into every event. And then the top 10 get to fish the 4th day. So that's a good tournament. If you make the top 10, you're going to have a chance to win. And that's always the goal heading into these things. But we've had 2 events so far. We were down in Florida and then Georgia for 2 back in February. Mediocre start for me. I got a 30-something at Okeechobee, which is decent. I had 2 good days and then kind of a tough 3rd day. Obviously, when I go to Florida, I'm not the favorite. It's not necessarily my style, but I've been down there enough. I've had a few good events. And then at Lake Seminole, our second one, I finished 55th, I think. I missed the cut by ounces. So, we get points based on where we finish in each event, and that's going towards qualifying for next year's Classic. So, one of the perks of winning is I'm in next year's Classic now already. So I kind of get to fish the rest of this season stress-free, because every day of the season's kind of stressful otherwise. It doesn't matter how good you did the week before, the day before. You're fishing against the best bass anglers in the world, and they make you pay if you mess up. And so it's going to be fun the rest of the year. We're going to a few places that I like, a few places I haven't been to before. We're going to the Sabine River in Texas, kind of a tougher place, but they get huge crowds there. I've been there once, and I'm looking forward to that too. It just is a different challenge. It's got tidal water. I don't think I've ever really cashed a check hardly on a tidal place before, done well. So yeah, it's I get to kind of be stress-free a little bit the rest of the year, and hopefully it'll reflect in my results, at some of them.
Yeah, that's got it. I mean, obviously you guys fish to make the Classic. You're fishing for that the whole season. So now that you got a guaranteed berth for next year, that's got to be a huge weight off your shoulders for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I'm in after the first 2 tournaments, I was in 41st, and basically the top 40 make the Classic for next year. So, not a horrible start. The last 3 events are smallmouth tournaments up north. So my expectations in those ones are pretty high. And, to these southern events, really, I'm trying to survive in those ones, and then every once in a while you hit on one where you have a good, maybe have a shot to win, and then it's just avoid the bombs, and I'm 11 years now. This is my 11th season doing it, so my consistency's gotten better. I've learned a lot of things the hard way in the early years, and overall, I'm a lot better than I was 6 or 8 years ago. So it's. Sure. But still, it's not hard to have a bad tournament too. But you want to try to avoid those, and that's kind of the secret to making the Classics.
Yep. So we've got one question: is MLF in your future? And one of my buddies asked, do the Elite guys follow the MLF guys?
Well, I've got some really good friends that fish over there and fish MLF. Cody Meyer's a really good buddy, and there's several others too. But I never have time to follow it that much. I mean, I look at the results and I keep tabs on it a bit, but I'm not like a super fan of it or anything. I just never have time to watch the stuff that much. As far as for me, like I fished the FLW tour for like 6 years before the Elite Series. Good experience. I have nothing bad to say. But the Elite Series is the biggest stage, and I think it's the best stage to be on. And I consider myself lucky every day that I get to fish the Elite Series and get to fish the Classic. So, there was 6,500 people at our takeoff every morning in Knoxville. I mean, it was insane. The last day that arena was packed. I mean, it's unbelievable. So yeah, I'm happy where I'm at, and that's where my foreseeable future is going to be.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I never understood why the riff and, what caused the separation, why guys went one way versus the other. I know there was, you go back to the walleye days back in 2008, when the economy took the tank, like all the sponsorship dollars for walleye guys just disappeared. I mean, it completely went away. If I'd have to go back and, look at doing what I've done differently in my fishing career, I'd go back and I'd fish bass. That's where the money's at. The walleye guys just suffer. That's why I kind of pretty much just stayed to guiding and, now doing some of the rep stuff. But yeah, for anybody looking to make a living, tournament fishing, go fish those, I call them ditch pickles. So go fish the bass, and definitely a lot more money there for sure.
And I mean, or you kind of do a little bit of everything in multi-species, and it just depends what you want to do. Like for me, I really live for tournament fishing. I love it. I love bass tournaments, and that's my primary focus. But like growing up, before I got a lot of opportunity from all the ice fishing I did, guiding and walleye fishing, and just kind of did everything. So that sort of served me well, but yeah, I mean, you got to do what you love. And then from there, it's not an easy way to do it. I mean, it's hard. The sponsor stuff in fishing now, I mean, you got to prove yourself kind of before you're going to, get opportunities. And, it was probably a little bit easier, 15 or 20 years ago when I was young and writing letters to a lot of these companies and starting out, than it is now. Everybody's budgets are hit hard, and basically if they're going to help somebody new out, they probably got to cut somebody else. So that's just the reality of where it is today. But I get a lot of questions from people like, how do I make it? How do I get a career in the fishing industry? And for me, if you want to be a guide or a tournament angler, you got to be able to catch fish. And it's not going out to your local lake where you fish all the time and catching them. It's going to different bodies of water, and not always in the perfect conditions. And just that's how you get better and fish a lot. Like you got to fish. And, the sponsorship and the opportunities will come if you're good at what you do and you work hard. As far as like, there's obviously opportunities in the media, if you're interested in like running a camera and doing that sort of thing, lots of opportunity. If you want to be a creator, and obviously like there's YouTube personalities that are doing way better than I am in the fishing industry. And, that's not what I wanted, like what I love to do. So, but it's everyone just trying to figure out a way to make it in fishing. And there's lots of opportunities, but it's not easy. And you gotta, you're going to have to put yourself on the road fishing in, sucky conditions. It's not always as glamorous as it looks, but at the same time, I love it, and, wouldn't have it any other way.
It's our spouses and our families have definitely, I've gone through my hardships, and it's a toll. I mean, it's a commitment that, some people understand what we do, other people think you're going out and just having fun and fishing, and this is our job. This is what we do for a living. This is how we make money. And I know I've got some family members and such that think that, oh, he just fishes. Oh, he just fishes. Well, yeah, you just, you sit behind the desk, and I chose to fish. So, I mean, it's a career path. It's a lot of dedication. It's a lot of time away. It is a lot of traveling. And, the more that I traveled and got to fish all over the upper Midwest in the country, you take pieces from all the different places that you've been, and it just makes you a much better angler. You can go and fish the same, right your back door and fish that lake, your whole life, and go up north or go to Minnesota or Dakotas or any place else, and you're going to be lost. You're still maybe going to find some fish and catch a few, but boy, the different tactics and things that I've learned from all the different people in this industry has definitely made me a better angler. And when you become a better angler, you can promote yourself. And one thing that you've got going for you, and there's very few guys in this industry that carry themselves, I think is probably the best term, kind of like what you do. You're loved amongst everybody. And that, if you want to be somebody in this industry, you got to just be a genuine, nice guy. Don't hate everybody, go out and just be nice and just be a good human being. There's so many people in this fishing industry with giant egos, and it's just getting overwhelming, even going up on like Green Bay, on a Saturday, and all these guides just fighting over each other and spots and stuff like that. It doesn't even make a person want to go up and fish anymore, because it's just these egos that these guys have just drive you off the water. I just want to go out and fish and have fun. I envy the northern Minnesota guides, back in the day with the Linders and, all the Brainerd area guides that are up there. They seem to all work together, and they help each other out. Down here, it's one for all, or it's not one for all. It's each guy has got his own agenda, and he could care less. And it's almost like he wants to sabotage, all the other guides and people around here. And that's just not a way to live. You should be happy for everybody, and wish, as a human being, you should want to see people be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for me, my number one goal and motivation is I don't want to have to get a real Monday to Friday job. So I figure out how to stay busy, and just keep it going, moving forward. And I mean, I get along with pretty much everybody that loves to fish. I mean, I can talk fishing with anybody, and we're all similar people. So it's I consider myself pretty lucky every day. So it's easy to be happy, and but it's for it. The traveling and being away from home and missing out on important things for your loved ones and stuff, like that's part of it though. And that part of it, like I say, is not glamorous, but overall it's I've had a lot of like really amazing opportunities in my life from fishing, and I'm just pretty thankful every day.
Yeah, I'm in your same boat. I'm blessed. I've got to travel all over the world because of fishing. Fishing has given me more opportunities than going and working at a mill someplace or sitting behind a computer desk. I mean, I've got to travel the world because of what I do, and I've met so many amazing people in the fishing industry, out of the fishing industry, clients. I mean, like yourself, I know you've had clients from all over the place too come up and fish and hunt and that with you. And, those aren't just clients, they become friends and lifelong people that you stay in contact with. And it's, that part of it's awesome. Let's see, I had one guy asked, how much time does Gussy get to spend at home during the summer?
Yeah, I mean, so not as much as I'd be happy to not leave my house except to go to the boat ramp on Lake of the Woods or Rainy Lake from June through September. But no, it's good. I do love getting to go fish other places. But yeah, I don't know, 50-50. Like I think most of June I'm home. I got quite a few guide trips booked and just fishing activities. And then July, around the first part of July, and then the second part we have the Fort Francis Canadian Bass Championship. So John Peterson and I still fish that together. We got that, and then the following week we have the Lake St. Clair Elite Series. First couple weeks of August I'm home, and then the last couple weeks of August we're out to New York to Champlain and Lake Ontario. And I mean, going out there again, like some of the best bass fishing in the world, so it's easy to get fired up and not be sad to leave to go fish these cool places. And then September and October pretty much going to be around home, and we have bass tournaments up here I think every weekend in September, so I get in all those and have fun with it, and just fish as much as I can, basically.
Sure. So did I hear you right? You guys were thinking about possibly moving and maybe going down to Tennessee?
I mean, we would always keep our place up here. We've got a sweet spot where we live, but I mean, just while I'm doing this, I mean, it would be nice to have a home base down there. Obviously, being from Canada, it's not that easy, but it's it's possible. So it's something that we've talked about, and just having having a home base. And I love being down in the U.S. and am grateful to get to do it. But Tennessee we love. We've got a lot of friends there. It's kind of central to where a lot of the fishing is in the Southeast, and has lots of good fishing too.
So why don't they go out west? All those giant bass out in California.
Yeah, some of the best fishing in the country. I've never been out there. They've had a few trips out there in the past, but I think it's just such a big project to go out there. It's so far, and that's the number one. Just logistically, it's possible, but I think they get a lot of complaining and crying from a certain percentage of the anglers, and then obviously for bass to do it, it's going to cost a lot more and be a lot bigger project to make that happen too. So I think at some point we'll probably see it happen again, but it's just kind of rare, and but I know
even to see the classic go out there.
Yeah, everybody wants to go. The fish, there's some amazing places to fish out there: Clear Lake, the Delta, Havasu, and many more. Yeah,
I just think it would be neat to see really, focus on some of those big reservoirs. They're huge bass out there, and even do an invitational thing, or or bring the classic out there and have a mecca. I think it would be huge, but I'm wishful thinking, I guess.
Yeah, no, I think half the anglers would love to go out there because the fishing's so good. Me being one of them, I got to drive far for everywhere I go, so I don't care. And then you just another half the anglers that live in the Southeast maybe don't want to have to travel that far. Some of these guys bitch about having to go to New York and fish the Lake Ontario, Lake Champlain, two of the best places to fish in the world, for bass. So I don't know, but I don't.
Yeah,
you're not going to hear me crying about where we go. I just want to go.
So how many miles you put on a year?
Not a crazy 40 something. Not crazy, quite a bit, but when I pre-COVID, I would actually fly back and forth a lot between the tournaments. I'm 2 hours from Winnipeg, so I can get from Winnipeg pretty much anywhere. The flying's a little bit more difficult and expensive now. I haven't been doing it that much, but yeah, this trip, it's nice. We have 3 tournaments over the next 4 weeks. So we drive to South Carolina. It's a drive, a couple days. But once we're there, we're there for a few weeks, and then we'll slide over to Alabama. And then come home after that. So it's, not crazy driving that we have to do, but it's a lot, but not I'm not putting 100,000 on a year or anything stupid like that.
Sure. So is the wife helping you drive when you're traveling?
Yeah, no, and I'm pretty impressed with her. We met in 2017, and she'd never really fished. She'd never backed up a trailer before. And she'll like back me in the morning at the tournaments. Like when I weigh in, I go jump in the boat and drive it around to the ramp. And I mean, usually she has it sitting in the water ready to go. Like, yeah, it's pretty impressive. She backs it up and does good. Like my dad, I love my dad, and he has, we fished together our whole lives, but she's probably better than him at backing up a trailer using the meat. And so I'm proud of her for that. But yeah, she'll drive. She's driven through Atlanta with the boat on the back before, and yeah, I'm not worried about her driving.
That takes balls. Most guys won't do that.
Yeah.
Frank Gundren said, I spend 6 to 7 weeks up on Lake of the Woods between June and October near Smith's camps. Love the opportunity to get a chance to talk fishing the lake with you. Thanks for taking the time to have your picture taken with Brad Cedarwall last week.
Yep. Cool. Well, yeah, send me a message when you're up here, and you never know. If I'm around, I'm all good with talking fishing. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, and then Jordan asked, any chance elites would consider something like Bago or Green Bay? The elite guys were just up here, maybe 5-6 years ago?
Yeah.
Or was it longer than that?
Started like probably 7 or 8, maybe 6-8 years ago. They've had 2 events out there. MLF or FLW, I mean, they've been there more recently. I think it's possible. I think, a big component is these communities usually got to pony up a bit of money to Bassmaster to make the events come and be there. So, it's not just necessarily like just go pick the best places in the country to go bass fishing. I wish that's how they got to pick
there's a lot more politics in it when people know.
Yeah. So that's just part of it. And I mean, the thing with Sturgeon Bay and Green Bay is the fishing's really good there. Everyone knows that. They'd probably, they don't necessarily need to showcase it maybe as much, but I think that if they brought us there at the right time of year, and people, would open up more people's eyes to how good the fishing is there, how many big ones there are. But then at the same time, it's like, do you guys want more people than there already are going there? So
right,
people.
Yeah,
you could have a tournament in the summer to try to promote that, but I mean, people find out it's pretty easy to figure out. Like, oh, you want to go there in the middle of May? That's when you're going to smash them, and that's when you're going to get the biggest ones. And like, the best anglers all. They can figure that out pretty quick.
Sure. Very cool. So are you still hunting at all?
A little bit. Our deer's been in it's been sucky for a while. Just we live as far north as they go, and we had a number of bad winters. And last year we had the worst winter we've had in like 100 years, like a lot of snow, long, cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, our deer are tough right now. There's been a few hanging out in my driveway. My wife put out a little bit of stuff, couple apples and some carrot peelings and stuff, and they came and ate those up earlier, so that was nice. But yeah, no, it's tough. But they'll come back around. We've got the genetics. I do a little bit of moose hunting. We go a couple hours north. It's pretty good moose stuff. And then we've actually got like tons of ruffed grouse. So that's probably my favorite thing. Like recently, they're so good to eat, and it's pretty easy. The limit is 5, and I mean it's pretty easy to go out and find 5.
So good to eat too.
Yeah, they're the best. Like I could eat them every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No,
are you still going
those in the fall?
Are you still going up to Red Lake for the moose?
Yeah, that's where we go for the moose trip. Yeah.
Nice.
And, yeah, there's plenty of moose. There's 7 or 8 of us. We always go in December, and residents can only hunt that time of year, but we take snowmobiles and get around on snowmobiles. It's usually there's a bunch of snow on the ground by then, and it's fun hunting. You're active doing stuff. We do a lot of drives and just covering ground on the machines until you find a little area where maybe you can get out for a walk, or you want to find some sign, and then it's big old rough country, so you don't want to just start walking around aimlessly. You want to have some kind of plan, and but yeah, it's fun. We have fun with it.
Very cool. So I gotta ask, what's the plan for the 300 grand?
I don't know. Like they hammer us for tax, so it's probably we have to wait and see how to best deal with that before I get to have any fun with it. But it'll take the pressure off for the foreseeable future for sure. I'm gonna probably have some more opportunity in the next foreseeable future. But it's the tournament winnings kind of it's easy come, easy go. It's expensive to do what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, it definitely helps. We live in a small, like one of the smallest houses in Canada, probably. I've got a nice, big, beautiful shop here with, my boat's not here right now, but our house is pretty small. So I think, we've been planning to do a little ad on the house for a little while now. So this will help make that a little easier for sure.
Super cool. So how does that work as far as taxes and that go with you, being out of the country?
So I've got a US.
Yeah,
I've got a U.S. tax paying number, so I got to pay tax first in the U.S. and then I got to do it up in Canada too. So we actually have to pay a little bit more up here, it's a little bit complicated, and I need help with that for sure. But
well, there you go. If anybody that's an accountant can help Gussy out, send him a note.
I need help.
Well, you just got to buy more stuff so you get more write-offs.
Yeah, well, I know like everyone has to pay tax, so it's fine. But like when you got to just write the check for it just seems like way less fun and suckier, Like I'd rather they just took what they have to take and then here you get this much and then go have fun. That would be fun.
Yep.
And instead they just give you the full amount and you're like, oh, it's just so tempting to want to like go splurge on something. But yeah, it's great. I'm sure like I say, it takes the pressure off for the next little bit for sure.
Sure. The one thing about tournament winnings though is that money it comes and goes. You never remember the money. But the experience and that hardware that you got sitting behind you, that's with you forever. So, sure. It's that thing high and be proud because there's only so many people and not very many have held that trophy. So congrats again, my friend. I appreciate you taking the time and coming on.
It's been a while. I'm glad to hear from you. And
I think the last time we hung out was at one of the Lund photo shoots.
Yeah. I'm going to make
a couple years ago
this year. It's kind of on my way back from our tournament in Texas. So I'm going to get over there for a few days towards the back half.
Nice. I had it's a different story. It's for a story outside of this, but I actually run in Nitro this year. Had some issues with the dealer in town, so it's all good. The Lund makes an awesome boat. It was an honor to be with them, and if I ever get that opportunity someday again, I would not hesitate going back and fishing out of their stuff. Good people and good boats for sure.
Yeah. Well, for sure.
Well, sir, you say hi to the.
Well, yeah.
Well, we'll stay in touch. I'll try and, like I said, next winter I want to try and come up, or even maybe this summer or fall. The wife's going to Punta Cana with her daughter, and I'm thinking about maybe taking a trip up to Canada and going and doing some fishing and bringing the boat. So if you're around, I'll have to see if you're available.
Okay. Well, yeah. Have a great season, and let's get together here sooner than later.
Sounds good, Gussy. Hey, thanks, man. Good luck this season, and we'll stay in touch for sure. Show that trophy one more time for everybody.
Okay, got it. Oh, it's heavy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I still can't believe it, but Lucky.
Well, live it up, enjoy it while you can, and do a repeat next year. That'd be good too. Do they know where it's going to be yet next year?
Yeah, it's in Oklahoma next year, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Grand Lake. So
Okay.
I fished there once, my very first year, a long time ago, and didn't do that well. But yeah, I'll be when it comes around next year for that. I'll be ready and excited, and looking forward to it.
Hey, just the opportunity to be on stage, is every one of us growing up, is our dream. Yeah. I'm hoping to see you on one of the PlayStation games or something like that next.
All right. Well, hey, if that happens, great. See you later.
Sounds good, Gussy. Catch you later, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks to Gussy for taking the time from the Great White North. He's getting ready to leave here on Thursday. Thanks for everybody for joining in, sending me notes and questions, and appreciate it. He's a good dude, and it was awesome to have him on. And pretty proud of the guy, knowing him for pretty much my whole fishing career. It's been 20 some years, and been up to his place, fished with him back in the early days, and he just jumped on and just started doing the tournament scene, and he's a hell of a fisherman, and there's no question about that. And I wish him all the best of luck for the rest of the season. So around here, fishing reports. So next week, I'm getting guys lined up to do weekly reports from around the state, around the Midwest. Some of these bait shops are pretty excited to join in, and we'll have these guys come on and give us a report, tell us what's happening around their area, and we'll share some stuff that's going on. And then I think I'm going to try and get Jay Siemens on next week to talk about what we've got coming down the pipeline. I believe the production of all the catch and cook stuff starts here this next week, and we should start seeing it get to the stores in a week or so after that. So we're really excited about that stuff. Can't wait for you guys to try the catch and cook batter and some of the seasonings here later on this year. But that's another thing that we got coming down, and it's time to start fishing, guys. This warm weather is really going to spark things. The water is really, really high. If you're going to be launching in Fremont, Shiocton, New London, definitely you need some sort of knee boots to get your boats in the water. Fremont, the docks are, at least 5-6 inches of water over the tops of the docks. Very, very high. Water's moving. Winnebago County, Wapaka County, slow no wakes. Emergency rules are in effect. Slow no wake through the entire river. So if you're gonna, fish a certain part, just be smart and launch your boat closest to wherever you want to fish, because it's going to take you a while to get places. Now, what that means, just so you know, is that the slow no wake is around any structure. So if there is a house or something along the bank, you have to go slow no wake. If you're, once you get north of Fremont and start getting past Red Banks and such, where you've got the woods, just trees on both sides of you, you can run wide open. Be courteous for, all the other anglers and stuff around you. And then all these slow no wake buoys are in effect year round on most of the big sharp bends or some of the corners once you get past like Wylands and up around, obviously going through Gills and up towards Goose. And then as you get up to New London, there's some more slow no wake areas, but you can run wide open through the woods and such. You just cannot, 500 feet from any structure, any building that's on the shoreline, you have to go slow no wake. And I know the wardens and the sheriff departments, they will sit behind docks, and if they see you, even going a little bit faster than what you're supposed to, throwing a little bit of a wake, you are going to get a ticket. You got to remember, guys, this water's super high, and that erosion is going to, tear apart the shorelines if you start, busting up and, running, big wakes. Doesn't mean just go slow. It means no wake. Look behind you and make sure that you're not creating a wake. So many of these guys say, oh, slow no wake, that means I can, just plow through the water. No, you cannot have a wake behind your boat. So that's going on. The fishing's been tough. Up on the Wolf, the Red Banks tournament this past weekend, there were a lot of zeros. If you guys figured it out, New London has been really good. The fish are really starting to come back. This warm weather, we're going to have a hell of a hatch this year. The water is super high. It's warming up fast. These fish got every place they could ever think of to go lay eggs. And I think with this water warming up as fast as what it is, these eggs are going to hatch. The current's going to flush them out. They're going to have plenty of opportunity to survive and have a really good hatch. So this is going to be an awesome year for that. The fishing, it's like I say, it was really tough here this last week. The water was still really dirty. The current is moving really fast. You have to find slack water. So fishing on the inside turns where you don't have as much current has definitely been the hot spots. Now as these fish start to come back down, they're going to be in those straightaways. And once this water temperature hits 50 degrees, guys, that's the magic number. Start getting some crawlers and start dragging some crawlers. And it's going to happen fast. I think today surface temps were approaching the upper 40s, and it's gonna warm up really fast. And then this weekend here, it's going to get back to normal and cool things down a bit, but overall, the fishing is only going to pick up as these fish start to come back down. Out in the channels, some guys are picking up some perch. The one thing that I seen over the weekend, something that I've never seen on this system before, is the amount of shiners that are in the channels. There's no words to even explain how many shiners I've seen in these channels. I mean, billions upon billions of shiners swimming around. Just crazy. I don't know how these fish can even be hungry with how many minnows are swimming around. And once those things get out into the lake, it's just going to make things pretty difficult. So we're going to have to get creative this year, and the fish are still going to eat. We just got to find things that they're going to be chomping on, because there's a lot of natural forage out there. And the shad came back this last fall, so we're going to have a bunch of shiners. We're going to have a bunch of shad, and we're just going to have to overcome and fish a little bit smarter this year. Up in the Fox, I got a really cool video that should be dropping here either tonight or tomorrow. I took the boys up there. We caught a bunch of nice big walleyes, a lot of mid-20s, low to mid-20s, and Eli got his personal best, just a tick under 27 inches. Got all that on film, and got a nice little video put together here. I'll upload that for you guys to watch. That 6 cents, that the bait that we did the best on, and I think it's more just the color pattern. The color pattern for up there is really, really nice. It's a surge shad from 6 cents, the Duke lipless crankbait. I seen it. I knew right away it was going to be a great bait for casting up there, and it hasn't let me down. Eli was pretty much every cast was hooking into a fish, and I was throwing a bunch of different plastics and a couple other lipless cranks and some blade baits, and he was out fishing us. Just like I said, almost every cast. And once I put one on too, it was crazy. It was just a really good color, great bait, nice real big hooks, and I'll show that to you here in the video. But there again, the fish are really spawning. They're next few days. My guess is most of those fish are going to be spawned out. We had a couple pre-spawners on Saturday night, and we had some fish that were spawned out as well. Up on the bay, Marinette was going really well. Oconto was going really well, but there's just so many people up in Oconto that guy can't even really get up there to fish with how many guys are up there. So hopefully, things at this point in the game, it's like, get the spawn over with, get these fish back out into the lake, and get rid of the crowds that are around, because it just doesn't make fishing fun. That's why I go up. I don't even go up to the rivers until 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then fish through the night into the early morning hours. You get the bigger fish. There's very few people around. It's a lot more peaceful and definitely more enjoyable. And the lights on the cameras, we got some good pictures and some good video. So if you're looking to get out and you want a chance at a big fish, don't wait too long. The next couple nights, with how warm this is getting, you're going to run out of opportunities to catch those pre-spawners, and then you'll be getting just a lot of nice fish, but they're not going to be real heavy. They're going to be pretty skinny. And let's see. Other than that, for the most part, all the ice now is officially gone as of today, April 11th, on the Washera County lakes. So it'll be nice now to get out and start looking for some of the panfish around Watoma and Washera County. Green Lake, I believe, is had a little bit of ice floating around yet, but for the most part, the southern lakes are, once you get up towards Shawano and north, still a lot of ice. Up in northern Wisconsin, and they're probably going to have ice well into May. This week will definitely knock down all the snow and start breaking apart the shorelines and such, but I think it's supposed to get cool here again next week, and good chance that guys will be looking to ice fish on opening weekend here in a few weeks. Let's hope not. Let's hope that this warm weather sticks around and melts everything for everybody. But I know up in where Gussy was in northern Minnesota, these guys are still driving machines and ice fishing like crazy. So just one of those years. I wish we could have got this weather back in December and let it stay to give us a good ice season, but we weren't fortunate enough to have that. And then just be careful again. Like I say, the water is still coming up. If we get any rain, that snow that's up north is going to come down all at once. And the Wisconsin River is going to have some major flooding. The Mississippi is going to have some major flooding. Shiocton, New London, Fremont's all underwater. It's just be careful. A lot of debris floating down, a lot of logs and sticks and stuff. And then all the deadheads that are covered under the water. There's a lot of branches and stuff sticking up all over the place, that because the water's so high, you can't see them, but they're down there. Just don't drive around like an idiot and wreck your boat or hurt anybody. Don't want to see anybody get hurt. So that's pretty much what I know. Spring is here, and I'm looking forward to getting out fishing here in the next couple of weeks and enjoying some spring fishing. I think this week we pretty much went from winter to summer, but it looks like spring weather conditions in that return next week. And I always tell guys, 12 years straight now we've had snow on on my birthday, which is the 21st, that during that week or on my birthday, and I think we're 12 straight years, and it looks like we might have some snow next week too. So don't want to let anybody down. We want to continue that tradition of having snow mid-April. Other than that, I think that's all I got for you guys. If anybody has any reports to share, from the last couple of days, feel free, post it here. A lot of people read the comments and watch the video, after the broadcast, and it'll be good. I appreciate everybody joining in, and looking forward to a nice, good summer of fishing. And if you're looking to get out, I got open dates here in April and May yet for the rivers, and Winnebago, and that's soon after. So looking forward to fishing, and we'll catch you guys here next week. I'll keep you guys posted as far as who's going to be on and what we're going to be doing. So good luck. Hope everybody had a great Easter, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.